Up next on the WB11 News at 10, anger and pain as the parents of Amadou Diallo speak out against the NYPD and Mayor Giuliani. You've heard the horror stories. Tonight, Rosemary Gomez has expert advice for making sure a trip to the hospital doesn't end up killing you. And our special report, Getting Out Alive.
She's a local girl who made good. Today, Queen Latifah returned to her old neighborhood. Then join the party as jazz great Wynton Marsalis honors jazz legend Duke Ellington all year long. And let's hear it for the boys as men kick off their fashion week. The News at 10 starts right now.
Live from the New York studios of the WB11, Kylie Todd, Jim Watkins, Sal Marciano with sports, and Mr. G with the weather. This is the WB11 News at 10.
An emotional day for the parents of the West African immigrant killed in a hail of police bullets as they share their loss and their pain.
Good evening, everyone. We've seen it for the past week now. Outrage continuing to grow over Amadou Diallo's death.
We have several developments to tell you about tonight. At an emotional press conference, the family, joined by community leaders, renewed their demands for justice. It was also revealed that O.J. Simpson's dream team has entered the case. And tonight, the WB11 News at 10 has learned exclusive new information on just what might have happened the night that Diallo died. Jonathan Deans is live at police headquarters now with all that. Jonathan?
Kylie, emotion uptown while the investigation proceeds here at police headquarters downtown. We have learned the results of preliminary lab results. Now, these lab results tell us that 3 of the officers involved in the shooting, 3 of the officers who opened fire, did hit and kill Diallo, the African immigrant, but one of the officers who fired shots missed entirely. That, according to preliminary lab results. Now, does this have any legal impact on the officers' defense or on their story? According to the folks uptown who remain angry tonight, they say all 4 officers should be arrested.
We all are suffering. We are crying. But my tears will not come down again because I have seen all of you and the whole world are crying with us.
Together, the mother and father of Amadou Diallo spoke of their son, holding several books he was studying, showing how their son, a religious man, came to America to better his life.
He's trying his best to achieve his life successful. Unfortunately, it's ended like this: brutality, gunshot.
Reverend Al Sharpton leading the calls here for the cops who shot the African immigrant to go to jail.
1 week later, these police have still not been arrested or removed from their jobs.
Sharpton announcing lawyers Johnny Cochran and Barry Scheck of O.J. Simpson fame are now on board to help the Diallo family. Former Mayor David Dinkins echoing the outrage here tonight, asking the question that's on a lot of people's minds.
Why could not those police officers have crouched behind a vehicle and demanded that he come out? Why did they have to fire?
We still don't know why, but tonight we do have exclusive information on the actions of the officers the night of the shooting. First, Channel 11 has learned preliminary lab results show 3 of the 4 officers who opened fire actually hit Diallo. Investigators say those cops were officers Sean Carroll and Edward McMillan, who shot 16 times each, and Kenneth Boss, who shot 5 times. But as of now, it appears Officer Richard Murphy may have missed all 4 shots he fired. Investigators tell us they can't link any of the bullets that hit Diallo to Murphy's gun. Second, Channel 11 has obtained an internal police report that indicates where the officers were when they began shooting. According to this report, Officers Carroll and McMillan were right in front of and on the steps of the building. In addition, in earlier pages, it's written, quote, Police Officer McMillan sustained an injury to his lower back when he fell down the steps, and Police Officer Carroll sprained his right knee, left foot, and neck when he fell off the stoop during this incident. Contrary to some media reports, the officers were not in a semicircle firing. According to sources, Boss was crouched over the hood of a parked car when he fired 5 times, and Murphy, the cop who apparently missed each of the 4 shots he fired, Murphy was standing near a tree on the other side of the building. And as we first reported Tuesday night, police are looking at the so-called ricochet theory. That's because at least 3 bullets bounced off the building and whizzed past the officers when they were firing. This map shows where those bullets were found. Is that why the officers thought they were under attack?
Is it possible? Certainly it's possible, but I think until we have a careful analysis by forensic people, by crime scene, by the grand jury, we shouldn't speculate.
Now, when we spoke with lawyers for the officers, they again dismissed the ricochet theory, saying the officers opened fire because they feared their lives were in danger. Meanwhile, memorial service scheduled for tomorrow. We are told the mayor and police commissioner plan on attending that service. The grand jury now expected to begin hearing evidence in the Bronx on Tuesday, as many more protests are scheduled in the days ahead. And we are live outside police headquarters tonight. Jonathan Dienst for the WB11 News at 10. Let's go back to Jim and Kaidi in the studio.
Jonathan, thank you. Earlier today, Diallo's parents visited the place where their son spent one of his last moments alive. It was a heart-wrenching experience for both as they visited the store where Amadou went to work every day. Glenn Thompson has the story.
The parents of Amadou Diallo were greeted by the grieving owner of the store where their slain son worked before being gunned down by cops. The shooting victim's mother and father went into the store for a private meeting with the owners. Diallo's mother was said to be overcome with grief when she saw the spot where her son once prayed.
When she see his son placed in the back, when used to pray there, she fall down and kiss the ground.
This is his prayer rug, so the brother's going to give it to his mother, so she can always remember him, because only by the word of Allah that we keep the freedom and the justice that they did wrong to that young man.
At a shrine to Diallo outside the store, hundreds of passerbys, many of whom knew the innocent shooting victim, took time to sign a memorial book in his honor.
I knew him. My son bought tapes from him. It was like a lamb to slaughter. And I know that he will not die in vain.
In the meantime, at City Hall, members of the council's Black and Latino caucus met with the city's police commissioner to voice their deep concerns over the cops shooting at an unarmed man 41 times.
We tried in our very reserved way, but of course we also are sitting on top of a powder keg here. And I think we got across to him that things must change.
Safer defended himself against criticism that he left for a police conference in Los Angeles after the shooting last week. Despite massive protests since, he says the situation was under control. The commissioner promised council members he'll work with them for change, including giving their input in sensitivity training at the police academy.
They expressed a number of concerns about communication, about training, about communication between the police commissioner and the council, all of which I acknowledged and agreed that I would work with them to improve.
In the meantime, the mayor continues to defend the sensitivity training already being given his men and women in blue.
Sometimes in the wake of something like this, people want to throw out all the good in order to create a different kind of impression. There's been a tremendous amount of training like this that's been done over the last 2 years, more than ever before, and there'll be more.
And so as the city council tries to turn up the heat on the Giuliani administration calling for change in the police department, for now at least the mayor appears to be sticking to his guns. At City Hall, I'm Glenn Thompson for the WB11 News at 10.
In other news tonight, the second verdict is in the Jonathan Levin case. The man accused of helping Corey Arthur kill schoolteacher Jonathan Levin is a free man tonight. Today, a Manhattan jury found Montoon Hart not guilty on all charges related to murdering the Bronx high school teacher. After the acquittal, Hart, who says cops coerced him into making a 13-page confession, stunned the courtroom by talking to Levin's mother. Kathy Hobbs has been following this story. She joins us now with more on this verdict. Kathy.
Kathy, this was a case that received a lot of attention, in part because the victim, Jonathan Levin, was a teacher and the son of a wealthy television executive, and because one of the accused killers, Corey Arthur, was a former student. Arthur was convicted in the case, and tonight a friend of Arthur's, Montoon Hart, who was also on trial for the crime, is a free man, saying he was jailed for a crime he knew nothing about.
I'm so happy that he's out.
Raw emotion as the mother of an acquitted murder suspect expresses joy about her son's freedom. After 2 years in jail, a jury acquitted Montoon Hart of murdering a popular Bronx schoolteacher named Jonathan Levin.
Finally, after 2 years, for something I did not do, something I didn't have not a part of, finally, I'm being set free.
Montoon Hart was accused of murder in a case that received national attention, the death of high school teacher Jonathan Levin. Levin, whose father is the chairman of Time Warner, was allegedly tortured and killed in May 1997 for the code to his bank card. In November, Levin's former student Corey Arthur was convicted in the case and is serving a life sentence. From the start, prosecutors claimed both Arthur and Hart committed the murder, but this morning a jury said no, believing Hart's claim he had nothing to do with it.
Where were you the night of the murder?
Home.
He admits buying drugs with Arthur earlier that fateful day, but claims he was at his mother's home when the teacher was killed in his Upper West Side apartment, that police forced him to lie. In court this afternoon, an emotional scene when the once accused killer reached out to the victim's mother.
I told Mrs. Levin that I didn't have nothing to do at all with her son's death, and I told her God bless her and her family.
Jailed since his arrest, Hart says he's found God and is a changed man. Tonight, instead of heading back to jail, he's heading home.
I'm gonna go and play with my son and go play some video games and have a bottle of Cristal champagne.
He says he was prepared to face conviction and a long prison term. While he claims he was mistreated by police, he wants to thank jurors and the judge involved in his case. He also wants to make it clear to Jonathan Levin's family that he is sorry for their loss. Kathy, Jim.
Thank you, Kathy. Well, another very important verdict in a New York courtroom today. A Brooklyn jury found several gun manufacturers negligent today in dumping a, quote, toxic waste of handguns onto New York streets. This jury also found their marketing practices contributed to 3 of 7 shootings. Robbie Chavez is live outside the federal courthouse in Brooklyn with more on this. Robbie?
Jim, it was a mixed verdict today, but it was definitely seen as a precedent-setting decision. Although jurors seemed reluctant to blame the gun industry directly and force them to pay any money for the shootings, they did assess a great deal of responsibility. And the message tonight seems to be that the gun industry needs to do more to make sure guns don't end up in the wrong hands.
The verdict is sure to fire off a new attack on the gun industry. After 5 days, the Brooklyn jury found that several manufacturers were indeed liable in 7 New York area shootings. Those suing the powerful gun industry declared victory.
The plaintiffs, I think, had an amazing victory here today. The jury found 15 of the 25 defendants negligent in the way they distributed and marketed their handguns, and that is a major victory. It has never happened before that this case has even been heard, and for us to have a jury finding like this is an amazing feat, and we are very happy.
It is, though, a mixed verdict. While jurors seem to buy the argument that manufacturers were responsible for flooding gun-friendly states, knowing all the while that the weapons could make their way to states with strict gun laws, the jurors awarded very little money, only $3.9 million to one surviving victim. Even so, family members say they weren't looking for the money.
We wanted to have a verdict of negligence. We think that this starts a new phase in how America will begin to look at guns and the proliferation of guns in our communities. So we're very pleased. We thank God for this verdict.
Obviously, this jury said that is not enough. If you comply with the laws and your guns are still getting to the hands of criminals in this state, and your guns are being used to kill our children and wound our children, that is not enough. You've got to do more. You've got to police yourselves.
The verdict comes after a 5-year fight, a verdict that came after much turmoil among the jury, even deadlocking at times. Attorneys for gun manufacturers say it sets no precedent, and for them, it will be business as usual.
This verdict here reflects the fact that the kinds of issues being asserted here are not properly ones to be submitted to a jury, but rather should be submitted to a legislature that can consider all the issues fully and then reach the appropriate compromises.
There is no precedent here. There is none. I think what we have learned, and I think both sides have learned this, it's something that the defense has been saying for 4.5 years. This does not belong in a court of law.
It's a position that one gun law expert expects to backfire, going as far to say that this verdict is the beginning of the end of the gun industry as we now know it.
I think for the gun industry to hear a jury say that 15 gun companies are careless in the way they sell a very dangerous product and then say they're not going to make any changes is shameful. And I think they will make changes. If they don't do it as a result of this lawsuit, they'll do it as a result of the next lawsuit, which will have bigger dollars.
Now, the gun industry plans to appeal this verdict. Even so, this was seen as a test case for other lawsuits across the country. We're live in Brooklyn tonight. I'm Robbie Chavez for the WB11 News at 10. Kaidi and Jim, back to you.
All right, Robbie, thanks very much. Still to come tonight, everyone. The eve of history, the countdown to the impeachment vote is winding down.
And if at first you don't succeed, an explosive scene as the Coast Guard makes a second attempt to burn up a tanker loaded with oil.
You go into the hospital hoping to be cured, but you could face a horror story instead. Tips for survival in our special report, Getting Out Alive.
She's conquered the worlds of rap, movies, and television. Now, Queen Latifah shares her success story, you try to say that, with New Jersey kids.
And Fashion Week kicks off in Manhattan with the guys taking center stage. Right now, let's go to Mr. G at the weather map.
Successful day today with temperatures right around 53 degrees, but a leading edge of cold front snapping Great Lakes, Ohio Valley, down the Gulf of Mexico, moving in our direction. Scattered showers late tomorrow, and it will come down hard late in the day with thunderstorms, windy, record warmth. More about that your weekend the next 5 days. All that later on.
Some call it the sexiest film in recent memory. Edgy and impressive. Red hot.
You're sleeping with her, aren't you?
For the first time on television.
Is this some kind of joke?
Sharon Stone.
How's it feel to kiss him?
And Michael Douglas.
You tell me.
In a high voltage thriller that will keep you guessing. Right till the very end. Basic Instinct. Tomorrow at 8 on the WB11 Friday Night Movie.
The final impeachment vote is now just hours away.
Finally, it's coming to a close. The Senate will vote tomorrow at noon on whether President Clinton should be removed from office. Acquittal is all but a foregone conclusion at this point, though. Those who want Bill Clinton ousted appear to be far short of the two-thirds majority needed to convict the president. And today, Senator Olympia Snowe of Maine became the fourth Republican to declare she would vote to acquit on both the perjury and obstruction of justice charges.
All the elements in order to determine perjury were not there, and most specifically materiality. On the second question on obstruction of justice, there were some very troubling pattern with respect to the allegations on the gifts, the concealment of the gifts, the affidavit, the job search. But again, it really came down to the fact it was all circumstantial. There was no direct evidence.
Also today, the White House denied reports that Clinton has vowed revenge on House Republicans in the year 2000 election.
Well, despite a court order that American Airlines pilots go back to work, the sick-out continued today, inconveniencing thousands of passengers. A U.S. district judge ordered pilots back to work yesterday, but they ignored that and the advice of union leaders to return to work, causing the cancellation of more than 1,100 flights today. The sick-out has stranded more than 350,000 travelers since Saturday. The pilots are demanding that American's parent company use the same pay scale for pilots flying for the recently acquired Reno Air.
A hot air balloon crashed in Arizona today, seriously injuring 6 passengers. Strong winds reportedly caused the balloon to strike the roofs of 3 houses before dragging it across a field. No one on the ground was hurt, but all 6 people aboard were injured. Nature of the injuries is not known, but 3 people were taken to hospitals in critical condition. The balloon was operated by a sightseeing company based in Scottsdale. Demolition crews off the coast of Oregon were successful today in their second attempt to blow up a grounded cargo ship. They used explosives to crack open the fuel tanks, sending nearly 400,000 gallons of oil into the cargo holds. Their plan then calls for putting 350 gallons of napalm gel over the oil and igniting it. It could take 5 days for all the oil to burn off. The Japanese-owned freighter ran aground last week and began leaking as pounding waves widened cracks in its hull. Federal and state officials chose this strategy over moving the ship and risking a disastrous fuel spill.
Much more news still ahead. We've all heard the horror stories, patients having the wrong limb amputated or not making it out of the hospital at all. We'll tell you how you can survive in our special report, Getting Out Alive.
And the controversy over whether one of the Teletubbies is gay continued today as a religious leader fired back at his critics. Stay with us.
1960. I have a dream. Like Dr. King, Malcolm X gave his life for the black man's right to equality and respect.
1965.
The Voting Rights Act became became the law to fight injustice.
1967.
Thurgood Marshall protected our liberties.
1968.
Arthur Ashe aced his way to tennis fame, and Chubby Checker's swinging hips had us all doing the twist.
The 60s, a decade of legends and legacy.
Celebrate Black History with the WB11 and Toyota.
Everybody loves these guys, and everybody loves a chance to pocket a few of them, too.
And through Monday, you can pocket a few thousand of them with 1.929 or 3.9 APR financing on any Camry, Solara, or Corolla in stock. How's that for democratic? This special ends Monday, so get going. This President's Day weekend, you won't find a better way to save.
Hey, would I tell a lie?
No matter how you find it.
I want you to meet Daniel.
Don't worry, because I've been house trained.
No matter who's against it.
I just don't think that he can take care of you. We can take care of each other.
Believe the love in your heart. From director Gary Marshall comes a love story for the romantically challenged.
I wonder who thought up sex in the first place.
I think it was Madonna.
The Other Sister, rated PG-13. Starts Friday, February 26th.
It's the sale you've been waiting for.
The going out of business liquidation.
Going on now at your local Caldor.
Everything is now 20 to 50% off original prices.
Every item in every department will be liquidated.
No exceptions.
20% off all electronics and kitchen appliances.
Housewares and domestics.
20% off all apparel and shoes.
Toys and sporting goods.
And just listen to this.
Take 60% off all fine jewelry.
And through Valentine's Day, take an extra 20% off your total jewelry purchase.
The going out of business liquidation.
Going on now at your local Caldor.
This portion of the news brought to you by the new Dodge. It's about change.
Many of us have had a friend or a family member go to the hospital.
And in most cases, they come home better than when they went in. But things don't always go as planned, and what should be a routine hospital visit can sometimes have fatal results. Rosemary Gomez is here with a special report on how you can make sure your trip to the hospital is a safe experience. Rosemary.
Jim, in the old days, the only time people went to the hospital was to die. Then advances in medicine changed all that. But now many outbreaks and medical errors are bringing back some of the old fears. So tonight we have some life-saving tips on how to avoid becoming a statistic and get out alive.
He was a healthy man. He was healthy.
You go into a hospital, you figure you're going to go in, come out, you're going to be okay.
He survived a quintuple bypass operation, so everyone thought Donald Andreoli would be okay. But the World War II veteran and Queen's grandfather couldn't beat a deadly infection his family believes he acquired at a Long Island hospital during what seemed like a mini outbreak.
Every room had caution, must wash hands, cover this, cover that, because there was a staph infection in each room.
The CDC estimates 80,000 people die every year from hospital-acquired infections, the equivalent of a jumbo jet going down every day without survivors. In addition, a Harvard study shows that another 100,000 people die from hospital errors, twice the number of people who died in Vietnam.
They didn't use rubber gloves at the time when I was in the hospital.
Melvin Heller almost became a statistic. He survived a staph infection that ate away his insides while he was trying to recover from heart surgery at a South Shore hospital.
It's a horrifying thing to watch somebody just get worse and worse and worse.
After a month of intravenous antibiotics and 2 subsequent surgeries, the East Meadow man beat the infection, but says he hasn't been the same since.
They had to open me up and scrape the entire staph infection from my chest and my entire body.
A new state report shows many hospital infections are being transmitted by doctors and nurses simply not washing their hands or changing gloves between patients. The lack of basic hygiene can spread so-called superbugs that are antibiotic resistant. That's how Dr. Sheldon Blau believes he acquired his infection after undergoing a routine angioplasty. He and Melvin Heller were roommates.
I thought I was going to die. My adult children, both of whom lived at the time in California, flew in to see me. And despite the fact that I'm Jewish, I saw a priest who comforted me.
It took 3 weeks of mega antibiotics given intravenously to bring the doctor back to life. But the situation was so frightening, it prompted him to write a book called How to Get Out of the Hospital Alive.
Stethoscopes should be washed with alcohol swabs. I prefer to use these disposable covers.
The book not only has advice for hospital staff, but for patients.
When you enter the hospital, if your name happens to be Ashley or Cohn or Schwartz, make sure there's no other Ashley or Cohn or Schwartz on the hospital floor.
The doctor has some simple recommendations you might find shocking as a patient that could save your life. Write your name on a piece of paper and tape it to the wall above your bed so staff can see it. Mark the area of your body to be operated on with a felt tip pen so surgeons don't remove the wrong part.
Wrong-sided surgery is almost epidemic in this country.
And never go to a teaching hospital in the summer for elective surgery.
The medical student of May and June becomes the doctor of July. I would not like to see him in the emergency room in July and August.
The doctor also advises never go to the hospital on a weekend for anything but an emergency. Try to make the stay as short as possible and ask for a private or semi-private room.
Isolation should be more of a factor. How can you have two to four people in a room with the infection and expect to get rid of it?
Victims of what they describe as stupid mistakes say it's enough to make them think twice about ever going to a hospital again.
I hope I never have to go to a hospital. I'd be afraid.
None of the families we spoke with are suing the hospitals because finding the source of a staph infection is almost impossible to trace. So the best advice is probably the hardest thing to do, and that is to ask your doctor if he or she washed their hands when they come into your room. For more information on this subject, you can log on to our website at www.wb11.com. Heidi, Jim?
Thanks, Rosemary.
Okay, coming right up tonight, she rose from the streets of Newark to become the queen of rap. Today, Queen Latifah was giving back, sharing her success with Newark kids and talking about her new project.
A tribute from one musical genius to another as Wynton Marsalis and Lincoln Center Jazz honor a legendary musician.
And Cindy Crawford makes a stop in New York and reveals the Valentine's gift that would melt her heart. Coming up.
May, so this is like my first Valentine's Day marriage.
Never thought I could afford a Lexus. My wife never thought we could afford a Lexus. But with the certified pre-owned program, I got the car I really fell in love with.
Buying a pre-owned Lexus was really a much better financial way to go.
Financing was fantastic.
She wasn't hard to persuade. The most affordable Lexus ever. 0.99% financing until March 1st.
So we said, let's go for it. It is mine, not my husband's. It's mine.
First time out, I was able to get a Lexus.
Owning a Lexus is closer than you think. Only at your New York, New Jersey, Connecticut Lexus dealer.
He was quite the little tap dancer.
Look at that little bottom.
First set of bagpipes.
What a sweetie pie.
Oh, let's see what else I got here.
Time to put away a few things? Storage solutions at IKEA's Make Room for Living event.
Okay, champ, come on, let's show him how smart we are. What's 2 plus 2? 1, 2, 3, 4. 4, that's right, he's a genius. Look at him, he's a genius, I'm telling you.
Video storage. Lots of it at IKEA's Make Room for Living event.
Nurse! Where is everybody?
Ford, built for the way you live. Whether you like to hit the trails or check out the big city, you'll want to get to the President's Day sale at your Tri-State Quality Ford store today and check out the limited time offers on Ford Explorer, like a $279 a month lease on a go anywhere, do anything Ford Explorer Sport. But this special $279 a month offer ends February 22nd, so hurry in today to the President's Day sale going on now.
Really? You bet I can get there.
Visit your Tri-State Quality Ford store.
Well, the Tinky Winky scandal day 2. The Reverend Jerry Falwell is now denying that he outed one of TV's Teletubbies. Falwell says he never claimed that the purple Tinky Winky was gay, but he does defend an article in his National Liberty Journal. Falwell says the author was just repeating what others have been suggesting about the character. Falwell says if Tinky Winky is in fact gay, it could send a wrong message to kids. Today, White House Press Secretary Joe Lockhart said the very notion of it all, quote, pushes the envelope of the absurd, end quote.
From Tinky Winky to Queen Latifah, she has risen from the inner city to the bright lights of Hollywood. And unlike many of her peers, she has crossed the lines of music, television, and film with so much success. New Jersey correspondent Pamela Chan caught up with the highly talented Queen Latifah today as she spread a little of her good fortune.
Older cats say I'm newfangled. From records to motion pictures, I'm still here flowing. From poor to richer, I'm still Dana Owens.
Rap star and actress Queen Latifah, whose real name is Dana Owens, was on stage today at the New Jersey Performing Arts Center, not to entertain, but to enlighten. She held the rapt attention of almost 2,000 high school students from the greater Newark area with her words of inspiration.
Visualize it in your mind. Visualize yourself being what it is you want to be. And then do the things that you got to do to get to that. And know in your heart you can do it. You just got to believe that you can.
Queen Latifah was born and raised in the Newark area and quickly rose to stardom 10 years ago at the age of 18. First as a rap artist, then she made the jump to TV and movies. Over and over, she told her young admirers they too can fulfill their dreams.
Who would have thought that a girl from Newark would have got her own TV show, is coming out with her own talk show, had gold albums, you know, owns her own management company, owns her own record label.
Among Queen Latifah's role models, she cites her mother, who was on hand for the celebration as part of WPIX's Jubilation Choir.
We are marching in the light of God.
The spirit of the day certainly transcended the audience.
I learned today that, you know, you can be successful even though you're black, you're white, or anything. And you should follow your dreams even though, like, everything's against you.
To stay in school, be a positive, always believe in myself, you know, keep my faith up, keep my head up.
But backstage, the superstar admitted she worries about these kids' futures.
What scares me the most is this mentality that you're going to live a short life. That, you know, I mean, growing up here, you tend to see a lot of things you don't need to see at an early age, and it kind of can desensitize you, and it makes your mortality really real. My hope is that a lot of, you know, these kids out here will have dreams for tomorrow.
Queen Latifah's next big project is her own talk show, which is set to debut this fall. She says she's hoping to use profits from the show to give back to her hometown community. In Newark, New Jersey, I'm Pamela Chan for the WB11 News at 10.
As artistic director of the burgeoning Jazz at Lincoln Center program, Wynton Marsalis is able to both create and recreate jazz history. And in the coming months, Marsalis and his colleagues will be bringing back to life the music of the man some call the greatest American composer and musical influence of the 20th century, Duke Ellington. And for Wynton Marsalis, this is a labor of love. Wynton Marsalis talking about Duke Ellington is a form of music in itself.
His music is hip. So it's always swinging. It makes you, hip is the only word I really can use because it is just so deep in the pocket and it has such belief in a groove that you just, when you start playing it, you come around to it.
Belief in a groove, a good way to describe how both Duke Ellington and Wynton Marsalis make music. Now, on the 100th anniversary of Ellington's birth and a quarter century after his death, this jazz giant's work is being celebrated all year under the direction of the leading jazz figure of our time, trumpeter Wynton Marsalis. He's taking his Lincoln Center Jazz Orchestra around the world to honor the Duke and his immeasurable contributions to American music.
He showed us how to combine the sound of the blues with the sophistication of the American popular song. That's in songs like Mood Indigo and Sophisticated Lady. He invented a whole system of harmony based on the dissonances of the blues, which is like this kind of, he takes something like this in the blues, like a blues monk. He'd have voicings where he would take this interval and spread it out, and it would sound like, then he'd go to the consonant. So people, when they first heard that sound, they'd be like, oh, what is that the Duke is doing?
If that sounds like sheer delight, it is. Wynton Marsalis loves music madly, and whether it's as a band leader, educator, Pulitzer Prize-winning composer, or a Grammy-winning classical and jazz player, he is the driving force in his chosen art. But you won't hear that from him. He plays, he says, because there's nothing that's more fun. This story, he told me, describes it best.
One day we had finished a gig and we went to a reception or something. And we came back from the reception and our horns were in the backstage area. Now it's like 12:30 or something at night. So we were talking about Thelonious Monk and we pulled our horns out and we started playing Epistrophe. So we're in this dressing room and we just start playing Boodaloo-dee, doodaloo, just me and him. We start playing, then all of a sudden different cats from the band come in. And then they got their horns out too.
No doubt Duke Ellington, had he been around, would have been there as well. And for the next year, he'll be around.
Just listen to the music. It's all there, it's in the music.
That's Wynton Marsalis' philosophy of life, it's all in the music. Time prevents me from listing the incredible number of activities coming up in association with Jazz at Lincoln Center, Duke Ellington events. Call Jazz at Lincoln Center and they'll send you everything you need to know.
Really nice. He does it because it's fun. What better reason?
He loves music.
Yeah, obviously. Valentine's Day, fast approaching, and gift wishes are soon to be realized. How about a gorgeous model bearing gifts and a big smile? Well, Cindy Crawford surprised several sweepstakes winners today at their jobs, gifts in tow. It's all part of the Omega Watch's launch of the new Constellation jewelry collection. Crawford is hosting the campaign, but says the perfect Valentine's gift for her requires little pomp and a lot more heart.
Really what means the most is when it's something like a handwritten card or, you know, something really that there was thought put into. So,
aside from her Omega duties, Crawford is also starring in an independent film co-starring Lynn Redgrave and William Hurt. Speaking of supermodels, well, they were eclipsed today by soap opera stars as men's fashions kicked off the beginning of 7th on 6th Fashion Week. And it looks as though fun and function is the best way to describe what the well-dressed man is going to be wearing this fall. Pay attention now, Jim. Beth Genn has more.
Pinstripes and leather, velvet suits, flowers on top and bottom, but not together. The fashion world's wonder kid says they're clothes to have fun in.
The idea that you're going to have a good time really fast, you know, it's going to be like you put on this jacket, you put on these pair of pants. It's like you're in your environment, you are who you are.
Bronx-born Sandy Delal's rebellious chic has labeled him a designer for the elegant bohemian. Lots of long hooded jackets and what he calls function fabrics, such as polyurethanes to make clothes waterproof.
This 22-year-old designer made his fashion debut just a year ago, and since then, fame has come fast and furious. He was voted one of People magazine's 50 most beautiful people and won the industry's award for Best New Menswear Designer.
Delal says his clothes are for young guys who want to look older and old guys who want to look younger. Last year, his trademark plaids and paisley stole the show. This year, it's a fashion medley. At Ron Shureskin, much more low-key. The only bizarre thing about the presentation was its format. There was no catwalk. The media walked back and forth as models took center stage by standing on platforms along the perimeter of the room. If these guys look familiar, you're not imagining things. I'm so into you. The heartthrobs of daytime drama added some extra sizzle to Shureskin's studio line. It's all about ease and luxury.
It's casual glam, I call it. It's for the guy who's very confident in himself, but who could really afford it. This is real cashmere, alpaca and wool, boiled wools. But it's very casual, but it's elegant.
Gray, the new black, is back, but this fall expect to see it with ruby red. Another new trend, more famous faces on the runway and in magazines, as designers pick celebrity over the supermodel to call attention to their new creations. In Manhattan, I'm Beth Genn, WB11 News at 10.
Jim already has that casual glam look down. Look what he's wearing. Jeans, okay? Let you in a little secret. Don't tell anyone.
It's what the well-dressed anchorman is wearing this year. When the News at 10 continues, we'll have tonight's Help Me Howard segment. A holy war in Brooklyn. Residents say prayers at a local mosque are driving them crazy.
And a little boy finally gets his wish to meet a four-legged hero face to face.
Let me get your birthday present.
You know what you get?
Some call it the sexiest film in recent memory. Edgy and impressive. Red hot.
You're sleeping with her, aren't you?
For the first time on television.
Is this some kind of joke?
Sharon Stone.
How's it feel to kiss me?
And Michael Douglas.
You tell me.
In a high-voltage thriller that will keep you guessing. Right till the very end. Basic Instinct. Tomorrow at 8 on the WB11 Friday Night Movie.
Now through Monday, it's Macy's President's Day Mattress Sale. Save 50% plus 10% and additional dollars off our entire stock of Famous Maker mattresses from Serta and Sealy. Plus, save on all Stearns & Foster, new Masterpiece, and Crown Jewel luxury bedding. Pay no interest and make no payments for 6 months with Macy's Deferred Billing Plan. And get free delivery with a $599 minimum purchase. Come to Macy's now through Monday or call 1-800-MACY-BED.
Play the Blockbuster Trip-A-Day giveaway today. Thousands have won, but there are still lots of great prizes left, but they're going fast. So get to Blockbuster today, because every game piece is a winner, and tomorrow you might find yourself in with the in crowd.
Rent Return to Paradise tonight and go home happy. A friend is in trouble. You have 8 days to save him.
You don't go back, Lewis will hang.
Return to Paradise, rated R, rented tonight at Blockbuster Video.
Life is a journey, a drive through Main Street America, a cruise down the interstate. And around every turn, there's Chevrolet, like Cavalier. Right now, you can lease one for $189 a month with 0 down and 0 due at lease signing. That means no checkbook required. Tax, title, and license extra. Chevrolet's Highway 99.
Oops! I'll get a brawny paper towel. Oh, don't waste brawny. Bounty'll do. What kind of a mess do you use brawny for? This kind.
Brawny paper towels, 10 more feet per roll than Bounty, holds up to 19 pounds per sheet, and holds sloppy messes better than Bounty can.
So that's a brawny kind of mess.
Got a brawny mess? Get a brawny paper towel.
Some residents in a Brooklyn neighborhood are having trouble with a local mosque. They say the prayers are broadcast over loudspeakers, and as far as they're concerned, it is tantamount to noise pollution. Well, Howard Thompson tried to bring both sides together, and their story is the subject of tonight's Help Me Howard.
We are not trying to disrespect anybody, but unfortunately people sometimes very sensitive.
The noise has intruded into my life such that it has become a focus of my life that I don't want it to be.
New York, the grand international experiment, the microcosm of the world spread out over 5 boroughs. This is the Al Farouk Mosque, located on Atlantic Avenue in Brooklyn. In keeping with the tenets of Islam, the mosque conducts an adhan, also known as a call to prayer 5 times a day, and it is announced over these loudspeakers outside the building. It may not sound too irritating to you, but to neighborhood residents Claire, Gloria, and Dan, the prayer is, well, I'll just let them tell you in their own words.
In addition to the call of prayer, there is preaching and sermonizing, which goes on for hours on end at a decibel rate, which is deafening, literally.
It happens several times a week, and it's prominent enough that it does affect our lives on this block, and especially in the warm weather when we have a window open, suddenly, you know, it's just going through your whole apartment.
Now, while covering this story, the prayer didn't seem very loud to me. Maybe they turned it down. But Dan played a recording he said he made from his apartment window on Martin Luther King Day.
Martin Luther King Jr. Day was crazy. They started at 7:30 in the morning. They went until 10 o'clock at night. My windows were vibrating. I think that maybe they tuned the volume down because they knew you were coming there.
So is this a case of 2 cultures on a collision course, or is it just one of those New York instances where one neighbor's lifestyle is disturbing to the other?
This is a big Muslim community, and if the prayer is going to go on, you know, they actually call for a prayer. Just like on Sunday, the churches call for a prayer with the bells ringing.
Anwar Hagaz is the assistant imam of the mosque.
The fact that there is a lot of Muslims moving in this neighborhood and establishing, the majority of them are also American citizens. They are not just a foreigner. They are American citizens, and they have the right, religious rights, to worship whatever they want to worship.
So the next day I went back with Dan to hopefully establish some type of dialogue.
It's our obligation, the masjid obligation, to declare to them the timing for prayer.
I have no right to complain about your prayer calls. Those hour-long broadcasts that occur unpredictably and whatnot, could you please stop that?
I promise you, by the will of Allah Azza wa Jal, that I'm always trying to make double sure that the switch for outside the speaker will going to be turned off. Okay?
If you have a problem, you can write to me here at the station, care of Help Me Howard, 220 East 42nd Street, New York, 10017. Or you can email me at helpme@tribune.com.
All right, Howard will let you know if it works out. On Wall Street, the stock market took off today as technology stocks came back fighting. The Dow Jones Industrials climbed, look at this, 186 points, winners beating losers 3-2. The NASDAQ, by the way, climbed 96 points for its biggest one-day point gain ever. Nearly 816 million shares traded hands on the NYSE.
All right, straight ahead tonight, Mr. G has a wacky mix of weather on the way.
And Goldie Hawn, speaking of wacky, falls in with a strange crowd. The actress picks up an award at the annual event calling for the star of the show to get into the act.
In my investment club, we're making smart choices. That's why I chose to lease a Chevy Cavalier. At only $189 a month, Cavalier's a great investment. My return? It's easy to own with air, automatic, and ABS. And it goes 100,000 miles before its first scheduled tune-up. I wish my stocks were that reliable. The smart money's on Cavalier.
Lease a Cavalier for just $189 a month, or buy and get 1,000 factory cash back or 2.9% APR financing. Shop Chevy now.
This man has always had a gift for making life beautiful. Now he'll really need it. To protect his family, he must turn the hard truth into a simple game. The nation's top critics are calling Life is Beautiful a masterpiece, an astonishingly moving and wondrous film. And now it's been nominated for 7 Academy Awards, including Best Picture of the Year. Life is Beautiful, rated PG-13. Now playing.
It's the sale you've been waiting for.
The going out of business liquidation.
Going on now at your local Caldor.
Everything is now 20 to 50% off original prices.
Every item in every department will be liquidated.
No exceptions.
20% off all electronics and kitchen appliances.
Housewares and domestics.
20% off all apparel and shoes.
Toys and sporting goods.
And just listen to this.
Take 60% off all fine jewelry.
And through Valentine's Day, take an extra 20% off your total jewelry purchase.
The going out of business liquidation.
Going on now at your local Caldor.
Time for a Mitsubishi wake-up call. The Mitsubishi Montero Sport LS has more horsepower than the Ford Explorer XLT. The MSRP is thousands less than a Toyota 4Runner, and it's part of the family of SUVs that won the grueling Paris to Dakar Rally twice. Now, if you're still not convinced, for a limited time, you can lease a new '99 Montero Sport LS 4-wheel drive for $289 a month for 42 months at your Mitsubishi retailer. Hurry in, this deal is going fast.
Does anyone want to go really, really fast? Now your business can move faster, more affordably, over standard phone lines. Introducing Red, 17 times faster than 56K, 8 times faster than ISDN. Call 1-888-RED-2000.
This portion of the news brought to you by Red. For high-speed internet access, Red. Red means go.
A little boy's wish came true today when he met his real-life hero. That would be Scarlett the cat. You probably remember this story. Scarlett saved the lives of her 5 kittens 3 years ago when she walked through an apartment fire to save them one by one. The little boy read about the rescue in the New York Times and wanted to meet Scarlett, so 3 years later, he got his wish. Scarlett suffered severe burns to her face and paws. You can see some of the scars there, but thanks to the work of animal rights activists, Scarlett survived.
Nice story. Well, all over the map we are again.
Yeah, in terms of temperature.
That's what I'm talking about.
Tomorrow you can't miss. You got sun, clouds, you got showers, you got thunderstorms, you got temperatures record-breaking, and you got flurries on Saturday. Hello. Hello. That's a potpourri of weather. That's right. A smorgasbord of weather. 51 degrees, humidity 58%. The winds are westerly at 10 miles per hour. The skies right now are mostly cloudy in and around the tri-state area. All right, let's get to it, everybody. For us, the big story, where were you? February the 11th. It was 1983. Bedford Hills, 22 inches. Yorktown Heights, 20 inches. The big town had 14 inches of snow. No snow in the forecast, but a wicked cold front is smacking across the Ohio Valley as we speak. You can see it lining up, and the bright red is the heaviest thunderstorms, snow, western portion of the Great Lakes. Here's the sequence. Bright white is your frontal passage. West to east, here it comes at about 35 to 40 miles per hour. Heavy rain, Great Lakes, middle of February. Give us a break. The warm air shooting out of the Gulf, the cold air behind it, in between, bang. That's the thunderstorms that will arrive here. Timing probably tomorrow, very late in the afternoon, scattered showers, and then the best shot will come at night. Record-breaking temperatures possible. The record is 58. Kiss that baby goodbye, as Sally would say. Temperatures once again around here probably getting into the low 60s. And check this out. By Saturday morning, try the 20s. Here's your sequence. Starting time of the rain between 4 and 6. Heaviest between 9 p.m. and 5 a.m. End Saturday morning. The amounts 3/4 of an inch to an inch. Flurries on Saturday. So this is wicked, wild, wet, and windy weather. Partly cloudy, 38 to 43. North and west, 35 to 40. And for tomorrow, breezy and warm, 60 to 65. The record is 58. Good night, goodbye to that. A late day shower, but again, if you can, stay indoors tomorrow night. This passage, frontal passage, will be a 3-4 hour affair, and then the weekend will be cold. So, scattered showers, thunderstorms late in the afternoon. Look at that swing. Do you believe that? 65 to 32, maybe a flurry, and then Sunday, golden sunshine, 38 degrees. The best day of the weekend will be on Sunday.
All right, Mr. G, thank you very much. And speaking of potpourri, I believe Sal has a potpourri of sports coming at us tonight.
That's one way of putting it. More of a luau.
A luau.
The NBA semi-season is jamming in more ways than one. How about back-to-backs for the locals? Coming up, we'll take a look at the Knicks and the Bulls in Chicago, the Nets and the Bucks in Milwaukee, and Oscar's big night in Vegas.
Hi, this is Oscar de la Hoya. Sal Sports is next if you keep it where it is.
Sharon Stone, Michael Douglas, for the first time on television, facing Instinct. Tomorrow at 8 on the WB11 Friday Night Movie.
It's time to reward yourself. Time for a 99 Buick, now with 2.9 financing. Great cars, great savings on the entire line of 99s. Choose LeSabre, now with $1,500 cash back. Or Century, a Consumer's Digest Best Buy, now with 2.9 financing or a great low lease rate. Go ahead, it's time for a 99. Great cars, great savings right now at your Buick dealers.
Meet Paul Vitti, a mob boss with a problem.
Yeah, I got stress.
You are my shrink. You don't hear the word no very often, do you? I hear it all the time, only it's more like, no, please, no, no.
Robert De Niro.
In my world, I deal with animals.
Want to be a ribeye? Get away from the car.
Billy Crystal.
You know what I do when I'm mad, Paul? I hit a pillow. Feel better? Yeah, I do.
Analyze this.
You want me to clear your schedule for you? Oh, no.
Rated R.
No.
Jimmy, no.
Starts Friday, March 5th.
Barney's New York announces your mission. Penetrate the Barney's New York warehouse sale now through Sunday, February 28th. Save 50 to 70% off regular prices at the Barney's New York warehouse sale, 255 West 17th Street between 7th and 8th Avenues. Come back alive.
Weird thing about owning your own country, though. You gotta name it. I was thinking like Al's Country.
Play the Blockbuster Trip-A-Day giveaway today. Thousands have won, but there are still lots of great prizes left, but they're going fast. So get to Blockbuster today, because every game piece is a winner. And tomorrow, you might find yourself in with the in crowd.
Rent John Carpenter's Vampires tonight and go home happy. It's the ultimate showdown as the soldiers of the day battle the army of the night. You can't kill me. John Carpenter's Vampires, rated R. Rent it tonight at Blockbuster Video.
Sports Authority here with a question. How are you going to spend President's Day? By worrying about where to shop? I think not. Why? I'll tell you, because the Sports Authority has special values on footwear from brands like Nike and Adidas for just $39.98. Not to mention baseball and golf equipment at preseason prices and ski gear at up to 50% off. I'm no math major, but that seems like half off. Hey, when it comes to saving big this weekend, the Sports Authority knows. Yes!
This portion of the news brought to you by the Sports Authority.
The Knicks in Chicago to take on the Bulls. The only sighting of Michael Jordan, that statue of MJ in front of the United Center. Marcus Camby starting to impress. 5 blocks in the first half for Jeff Van Gundy's reclamation project. Camby's effort got him some encouragement from Patrick Ewing. And speaking of Ewing, how about a dunk? Maybe the first one we've seen since his wrist injury 14 months ago. Patrick making an effort to go to the basket tonight. He had 15 points in the first half. But the Knicks blew an 8-point second quarter lead. Tony Kukoc, the main man in the Windy City now. Chicago on a 17-2 run. Next, Kukoc missed along the baseline, but Andrew Lang finished. Knicks down by 5 at halftime. The Bulls maintained their lead in the third. Kukoc posting up Larry Johnson, hits the jumper. Then Dickie Simpkins scoring over Kurt Thomas. Knicks down by 3 after 3, but they've rallied with 4 minutes to go. Knicks up by 4, 68-64. Like the Knicks, the Nets with back-to-back games tonight. They were in Milwaukee. Their pop gun offense shooting blanks. Kerry Kittles making his season debut. He had a sore knee, and the Nets' best scoring guard beat Vinny Del Negro off the dribble. Jason Williams was 0 for 13 since breaking his nose against Atlanta last Saturday night, but with relentless effort, Jason broke the schneid with this basket. With only 33 points at halftime, Nets trail by 12. Ray Allen's first game since signing a 6-year, $71 million contract with the Bucks. Injury-riddled Nets with a scare late in the third. Keith Van Horn positioning for an offensive rebound. Bruised his knee. It could have been a more serious injury. He stayed in the game. Nets down 26 points with a minute to go, 93-67. Let's skip around the NBA for some other action. Orlando at Detroit. Penny Hardaway to the hoop. The Magic won 87-82. Toronto at Miami. Tim Hardaway to Eric Strickland for the strong finish. Heat melted the Raptors 102-84. The Lakers in Minnesota. Kevin Garnett skying for the stuff. The T-Wolves beat the Lakers 86-75. The PGA Tour remains in California, sliding south from Pebble Beach to La Jolla for the Buick Invitational. Just outside San Diego, the Pacific Ocean lapping on its shores. A little hand gliding, my dear. Tiger Woods, his tee shot in the par 3 third hole, 151 yards away, a 9-iron. Young Eldrick shot a 4 under par 68. He's 3 shots off the lead. Tour veteran Wayne Levy is at 6 under, letting fly from the 12th hole, just like you and me. Sure. Your leader, Ted Triba, he shot a 7 under par 65. He has a 1-shot lead heading into the second round. Saturday night in Las Vegas, Oscar De La Hoya, boxing so-called golden boy, takes a chance. The WBC welterweight champions matchup against former WBA champion Ike Corti is a rare collision between 2 undefeated fighters in their prime. De La Hoya may be 29-0, but he's been criticized for defending against too many soft touches. Corti is 34-0-1.
He's undefeated. He was an ex-world champion. He's young. He's hungry. So all the boxing experts, all the boxing critics know that Ike Corti can give me a real, true test inside that ring. When he trains, he's very dedicated inside that ring, you know. And I feel that Ike Corti has a real good chance of shocking the world. He has a good left jab. And what I have to try to do is maybe hopefully neutralize that jab so I can have a chance of winning this fight. In boxing, I think the speed is what wins the fight. If I'm much faster than Ike Corti, then I think I will have no problem.
Corti hasn't been in the ring in 15 months since the only blemish on his record, a draw against Jose Luis Lopez. De La Hoya's favored 3-1. 2-2.
Thanks,
okay, thanks, Al. Finally tonight, did you know that actress Goldie Hawn went to Harvard? Well, she did today. Yes, Harvard University's Hasty Pudding Drama Club honored the actress with their annual Woman of the Year award. This thing is always a little nutty, you know, parade, a little good-natured ribbing at Hawn's expense. I think if anyone can handle this, Goldie Hawn can. And actor Samuel L. Jackson is going to be honored as the Hasty Pudding's 1999 Man of the Year very soon. And I hear he's already been seen shopping for his dress and wig. That's what they do.
And we'll probably show you that too, folks.
I'm
so
sure
you got that going for you. That's the WB11 News at 10 for this Thursday night. I'm Jim Watkins.
And I'm Connie Ton. Thanks for joining us. Be sure to join us tomorrow night for the News at 10. Seinfeld is next. Good night, everybody.
Closed captioning is brought to you as a public service by your local Tri-State Dodge dealers.
Here's what happened last week, in case you missed it. You want